midnight, I can't go to sleep. I'm in the crib, but I'm still in the streets. Pockets on fast, my shit obese. I'm smoking Tuka, I miss it with streets. Bullets hit hard, knock out his teeth. Blood on his shirt, he at my feet. It's blood on his money, this shit wasn't free.
What's up, AIM Squad? It's your boy Cookie. We back at it with episode 5, City of No Pity, the Chiraq Chronicles. And this one is going to be about none other than Dayvon Bennett, aka King Von. So if you enjoy the content, consider leaving a comment below, hitting that thumbs up button, and joining the AIM Squad, where AIM is always on point. So King Von was born on August 9th of 1994 in Chicago, Illinois. The parents Natasha Chambers and Walter E. Bennett, which the world would come to know as Silk from Ada Park. But during the age of 11, his father Silk, who was in and out of jail most of King Von's life, he was trying to provide for his family by the means of drug dealing, and he was a high-ranking drug dealer, if you will. And with drug dealing comes jealousy. And one day in July of 2005, Silk from Ada Park was gunned down by an alleged sniper. From that day on, that changed young Dayvon. So as King Von was growing up, he attended Hyde Park Academy, and he hung out with people such as Boss CJ and the whole 078 Kill Award. Everybody in Kill Award had love for King Von. I don't care if they're GD, BD, Black P Stone, Vice Lord, Renegade, Insane, whatever. Whoever was there, they had love for King Von. But eventually, King Von moved to Parkway Gardens, which back then it was known as Wick City. It wasn't until August of 2011 that Wick City was changed to O Block when BD member O.D. Perry was gunned down. So when King Von moved there, he hadn't chose a side yet. He was basically neutral. He was cool with everybody. He was hanging out with people like T-Roy, E-Dog, D-Rose, A-Roy, Boss Top, BJ, you know, basically the whole Get Back gang that we have come to know today. But he was also hanging out with the other side. And when I say the other side, I'm talking about the fellas over on 63rd, which is STL and EBT. Or if you don't know who that is, basically FBG Duck and his crew. King Von and FBG Duck were once cool with each other. All these neighborhoods that were warring nowadays were all cool with each other at one point in time. But one day, King Von got jumped by FBG Duck and them. From that day on, King Von basically knew what side that he was going to choose. And after he chose that side, he made sure that the other side knew that. Because during his time on the streets, King Von definitely made a name for himself. Ain't gotta say too much, just know that King Von did his thangy thang. But then one day in 2014, King Von was attending a party, and there were some ops there that were mean mugging him. So he left said party. He went back and got Big Mike, which is FPG Wooski's brother. He went and got him. They went back to this party and shot the whole place up, killing an individual named Malcolm Stuckey. And King Von and Big Mike were both charged for this killing and were locked up. During which Big Mike was trying to snitch on King Von, basically saying that this whole thing was premeditated and he was just along for the ride. King Von, everything was on him. He was going with that story up until trial. Then he recanted everything and just said that he was lying just so that he could get better treatment or whatever. And then the state really gave Big Mike the shaft, because they're like, oh, you're gonna go back on your deal? Okay, we're gonna give you years, bro. And they did. And then King Von in 2017, he beat all those charges because Big Mike recanted his story, and he walked out of Cook County Jail to start his rap career. King Von first started rapping, he just had raw talent. He was dropping hit after hit after hit. I'm talking about hits like Beat That Body, Problems, and War With Us. Those are just raw talent. You know, there was nobody other than Lil Durk that was behind King Von really pushing him to rap and to really get his flow and his craft on point. Now, a lot of people think that Lil Durk and King Von like grew up together, and I'm gonna have to call on that, because King Von even tells you that he met Durk through Lil Varney, and that Durk and him are basically just signed through blood. And he was in jail. He does not know anything else about it, and that's that. It's just strictly business with Von and Durk. They're not no twins of any such.
I see you be with Durk a lot of shit. He signed you as an artist, or he just...
No, it's just, you know that shit, bro. Like, we just signed together through blood, so they heard that shit, you know? I was in jail. I don't know nothing, gang, for real. He gonna keep going. I was in jail my whole life. I don't really know too much about it. I got out, you know, it's that, you know?
Eventually, King Von became one of the best drill artists to ever touch the stage. What set King Von apart from everybody was that he didn't sell out. He didn't change up on his people. Once King Von got that money, he made sure that everybody was eating around him. As King Von's rap career was blossoming, he had to make a choice. He had to make the choice whether to stay in Chicago and risk being in the streets still, have one foot in and one foot out, or he can go down to Atlanta. He can really mold his craft and be among the greats of this rap business, because Atlanta is basically the Black Hollywood, if you will, of the music industry, and there's just no other way around. Once King Von landed in Atlanta, he did what he knew best. He got right into the studio and started making hits. But these hits, in my opinion, they were a lot different than the ones he was making in Chicago. In Chicago, he had that raw street drill rap, you know what I'm saying? When he went to Atlanta, he really turned into that storyteller, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that these were straight fictional stories. He took the real life situations and made them into stories, if you will. It really felt like you were watching a movie when you were listening to the music along with the music videos that King Von, might I add. He was neck deep into these production shit. If he lived longer, I believe he would have been a producer as well as an artist. And what a lot of people forget is that King Von, yes, he was an alleged demon in the streets. He ripped it up in the booth. But he was also a family man. And that, I believe, is one of the main reasons why he even went down to Atlanta in the first place. And it did not take long for King Von to really take his career to the next level. What happens when you level up, your haters or your ops also level up as well. And King Von, he is no stranger to opposition. Coming from the streets of Chicago is in well abundance. But as he started to blow up down south, people in the music industry that were down there trying to blow up as well, they saw King Von come down there and blow up within the span of 2 years. And some of these people have been in this music industry for decades, and they have not even gotten the slightest recognition that King Von did within 2 years. And that, my friend, rubbed people the wrong way, whether you meant it to or not. But no matter what King Von did during his time in Atlanta, it just seemed like the situations just kept popping up over and over. One of the main ones being at the Varsity Restaurant in downtown Atlanta. This incident involves King Von, Lil Durk, allegedly THF Bezoo, and a gentleman named Alexander Witherspoon, who was allegedly robbed at gunpoint and then shot, allegedly by Lil Durk, who I believe was the only one that was shooting that day. But reports say King Von was also involved in the situation. And then THF Bezoo, people just said that he was there. I have not found any solid paperwork saying that Bezoo was there. Because if Bezoo had something to do with it, don't you think he would have been in the courtroom alongside with King Von and Lil Durk? Just make it make sense. As I always say, let him who has eyes see clearly. And another point I want to make really clear to you guys is that out of everybody involved in this Varsity situation, Lil Durk was the only one that was allowed to turn himself in. Everyone else was arrested, which makes you wonder, what does OTF really stand for? Only the feds? So after King Von bailed out of jail for this preordained situation, I'll call it, he tried to maneuver his way through the music industry as best he could with the connections he still had. Only this time, he was doing it without the quote-unquote guidance, I don't even know if I want to call it guidance, of Lil Durk. Now, after the situation happened, King Von really had to seize the opportunity and project himself skyward with his music. And as he was doing this, he, like I said earlier, he rubbed people the wrong way. At this time in the South, now at this point in time, the big name rapper in the South was NBA Youngboy. Now, I'm not going to get into the beef with Youngboy and Durk or Von. Just know that there was beef. Not much so Lil Durk and Youngboy, but definitely Youngboy and Von. And who else is close to Youngboy? Quando Rondo. At one point in time, Quando Rondo and King Von were cool. And then some point along the way, there was some tension and they fell out. So keep that in mind. Now we're going to fast forward to November 6th of 2020. It is Boss Top's birthday celebration, and King Von and the Get Back Gang, they went to Opium nightclub to celebrate Boss Top's birthday, and a few of the guys were signing deals with a 100K track. Now, that part of the night went fine. Nothing happened. There was no beef. They had a great time, and then allegedly they were supposed to go home. The narrative that people are saying is that King Von, that he wanted to go to Monica Hookah Lounge for whatever reason, and when he showed up, there was no one around. So the driver told a 100K track that they're there alone, that they need to come over there so that, they won't be alone anymore. Like I said, this is all the narrative that was painted about that night. This is not my word. So allegedly, the team links back up with King Von at Monaco Hookah Lounge, who up until this point was just sitting in the parking lot, which then makes you wonder, why did King Von go to Monaco Hookah Lounge? Who told him to go there? So he was sitting there, and allegedly not knowing that feet away from him, Quando Rondo was also sitting there in the same parking lot. Now at this point in time, King Von had smoked with Quando Rondo for whatever reason, and he had told him online that when he sees him, he's going to treat him like a little bitch. And instead of knowing that King Von is the breadwinner and just handling it like they should have, somebody in King Von's team went and got King Von and told him that Quando Rondo was over there, knowing that King Von was going to want to handle that himself. After King Von stepped foot out of that truck, his fate was sealed. And after the gun smoke was cleared, there were multiple people that were struck by gunfire. One being King Von, the second of which being one of King Von's right-hand men, and his name was Mark Blakely, aka Slutty, which is also the brother of T. Roy, who I want to say was the only one to shoot for King Von that night, but unfortunately his gun jammed while he was standing over Lil Tim. After he took off, he was gunned down by the Atlanta PD. And then the third person that was known to have been shot that night was O Block Louie. And a lot of people, when this happened, thought that Louie had passed away from his injury, which he was struck in the head from a bullet. And the only other people that were out there shooting that night, besides Lil Tim and a couple of people on King Von's side, who were attempting to only shoot Lil Tim, who else was out there that could have been shooting? And if you guessed this one, you're right. The police. So if Lil Tim, which is the person that shot King Von, if he was only shooting towards King Von, how did all these other people get struck by gunfire? Is that what they wanted to happen that night? Was this preordained? Well, they never know. But at the end of the day, what we can take away from King Von and his situation is to always go with your gut feeling. Most importantly, you got to pay attention to the ones closest to you. We have so many questions that will never be answered. And yes, us as fans, we miss King Von. The main people affected by this is King Von's family. King Von was a son, brother, a cousin, and most of all, he was a father. And now King Von's children have to grow up fatherless. And yes, King Von made his bet. He knew that he was going to have to lay in it one night, but he didn't know his night was coming so soon. But with that, I say long live King Von. And as always, this is your boy Cookie with All In Media. It's all in or nothing. I'm out.